so the next step in the Bunton is going to be underway. We're going to work on this gearbox. Let me take you over to the bench and you can see exactly how we're going to proceed with doing this. So as you can see, we got the gearbox all painted up. I decided just to go ahead and paint it. I wanted to get this done and over with. I did take off all the coats of paint. I decided not to go polish it up all nice and pretty and put a clear coat on it. I just put a coat of paint on it. I probably actually won't even clear coat it. I'm just going to deal with the one coat of paint so we can try to keep things as cool as possible. And this is going to be our main tool for installing these bearings. I did some experimental work here. Got the ends in, and it seemed to work best with putting in the bench vise so I can get the equal pressure on it. I also took, and this is the one seal, and I don't know if you remember this or not, or if I discussed this before, but I couldn't find the proper seal. I was able to find something with the proper inner and outer diameter, but not the proper depth. So it doesn't, I don't know if you can even see it, but it doesn't quite go back as far as it's supposed to. I'm hoping that will hold just fine. And I did find one of the original seals here that's for the other side. This is the actual correct one. They only had one in stock. They said they had 4. I ordered 2, and they only had 1. So I got the one that was right. That's going to go in the gearbox right in there once we get all the bearings put in. But let's go ahead and get start getting the rest of these bearings put back in. One of the things I did, it's been a while, so I printed out the schematic. This is the parts diagram for the gearbox, so I can actually follow this and put together the gearbox properly. The other thing I did was, and I still have to do this, is I'm going to make some new gaskets. These are actually not in too terrible a shape, but I got some new gasket material. We're going to put in some new gaskets. If we're going to rebuild the gearbox, let's do it right. So in looking at a parts diagram, it can be kind of overwhelming, but when you start breaking down all the parts and figuring out where everything's got to go, it's not too terribly bad. I'm going to start with this particular one here. What I'm going to do is take some grease the inside of it just to kind of help it slide in a little bit better. We're going to start with that first bearing. See if we can try not to mar the paint. Simply drop it in. Try to get it as straight as possible. We're going to go ahead and use a socket to actually drive it in. So we'll put this in the back. Once you get this down there, you want to make sure that it does have the proper seal on the other side. Everything's going to spin through it. This next one, this one's going to be a little more tricky because there's a lot of O-rings, a lot of snap rings that have to go in this, and there's grooves in there for the snap rings, so they have to be positioned pretty much exactly right. So I'm going to grease this up and pray for the best. we got all the bearings in, and all we have left to do is get the bottom seal in and the other side seal in, and we're ready to go. In case you're wondering what this tool is, this actually came out of this kit right here. The issue is that the smallest one of these was too big for the hole of this seal, and the flange on the bolt was hitting the center of this, so I just kind of put that out and just use that as is. So this is actually what you're supposed to hammer down and put in seals. This is actually designed to put in bearings and seals, and it's usually an automotive purpose because you're pounding on it. You notice the end is really roughed up, but these went in a lot smoother using the bench vise. If you have a shop press, that'll work too. I don't have a shop press yet. We'll see. But that gets them nice and in there, and all we have left to do then is push up and put in the seals. So one seal, like I said, was already in. This was the original John Deere seal, which is Bunton, I guess. I don't know. They were only able to get one of these. Ordered two. They said they had four. They were only able to find one, so I ordered one. I found another seal that would work. It doesn't quite go all the way in, but looks like it's going to seal just fine. When you put in the seals, one thing you want to watch for, I'll grab the bigger one to show you, is the rubber part. Actually, this one doesn't even have a big rubber part like this one does, but there's a rubber part on some of these seals that do the actual sealing. You don't really want to push on that. You want to push on the outer edge. So we're going to try to find something that's wide enough we're not going to damage that rubber part when we put in the seal. We already have the one snap ring in. The other snap ring goes on top of this, so we just need to lube it up and press it in. Here we go. Got all the seals in place. Now we can actually kind of assemble the gearbox. As soon as I can see my schematic. circle like this. I usually like to cross like this, so I can actually maneuver in the circular shape a little easier. Alright, now we just got to figure out how to cut those holes open, and we should be pretty good to go. And there you go. We're interrupting this program to give you this special news bulletin. If you like this content, I'm asking that you please like and subscribe to the channel and maybe leave some nice words of encouragement in the comment section. Thank you. We now return back to our regularly scheduled programming. There we go. Gearbox is all rebuilt and put back together. I need to find a few more of these, which I should be able to. This shouldn't be too difficult of a part to find, but I gotta find. I bet one of them. I think I lost one of them too. And it's probably in the truck somewhere because I'm using it as an example to try to find it. The farm store had them, but they didn't have the right size, so I'm going to try the power store, see if I can get them from there. And at that point in time, guess what? It's ready to go back together. We got a nicely rebuilt Bunton gearbox. All it's got to do is get put back on the mower. My dad used to tell me, and this is something his dad used to say to him, you learn something new every day. And if you don't learn something new every day, it was a wasted day. So hopefully I can teach you something new. Hopefully, you can go ahead and comment and maybe you can teach me something new. We can always learn from each other. So we're all called to be teachers, in my opinion, and we're all called to be students. So hopefully I can shed some light and give you some information that's going to help you in your business, help you with your decisions dealing with power equipment. And in turn, maybe if you have a different perspective on things, you can go ahead and share it. I'd like to hear it. Everybody has things that work for them, and you may have come up with a much better idea than even I came up with. I'm not that proud to say that I'm perfect. Till next time.